Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to round 5 of the PNTCC, and we're off to Brands Hatch in Kent for this round of the PNTCC. Brands Hatch also being home of, again, the other great racing series, British Touring Cars, that consists of 9 corners. We've overtaken opportunities on pretty much almost every single corner. Druids at turn 2, as well as Clark Bend at turn 9 being particularly popular for undercuts. But without further ado, let's head over to race 1. So here we are for race 1 of the PNTCC. Michael Clough getting the pole position for the race. So that is the blue number 12 car, Lincoln Co. He has moved from the Alpha from round 4 to Lincoln Co. But we do have 2 number 12 cars, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Bo Dixon there getting a great start, which ultimately turned out to be a jump. So he went just before Jamski, just trying to get the undercut on Anders, aka myself, who is now driving the Honda Civic Type R for the foreseeable future, moving away from the Lada. So there we can see Rabba and Danny 200 going side by side as we come up to turn 4. The long sweeping left-hander. Multiple different style of taking this corner. Myself, I take a bit of a wider line in to get a faster exit, but it didn't seem to be the fastest overall, as we almost go 2/3 abreast into the fast right-hand corner, the fast double right-hand corners we have at the back end of the circuit. As Rabimus takes up 3rd place, whilst Danny 200 is looking to just try and put Rabba off a little bit here. Rabba having a great season when he can race. He's a very quick, consistent driver. A couple of odd mistakes here and there in particularly more tricky circuits. As we can see, Mark Olsen in the background going off there with Jamski quite close behind him. As we now head downhill, we're on board with Jamski, just getting past Mark Olsen there. Ledamy did start the race, but he started from the pit lane. You eagle-eye people would have noticed that. So sadly, he's pretty much out to the running straight from the off for race 1. He just forgot to ready up. Something as simple as that can keep you right at the very back. So we're back with Danny 200 as we're going up towards Druids. As I said, this is a very good major or place to do an overtaking opportunity. Danny hugging the tight line and going onto 2 wheels. Almost taking Anders off with him, and Jamski is also going to collect on that. So Danny 200 making a big error there on Druids. There are a couple of almost like molehills on the inside of the Druids corner, and yeah, just popped the car up onto its left hand side. And to be fair, great skill to keep it well held. I would say that's on par with Geordie Evans in season 1 around the Nürburgring, which you see in the intro of the PNTCC. As we're at 7 minutes and 30 seconds gone, and we're on board with myself, just trying to close Rabba down, noticing that the Civic is very good on the brakes compared to the Lada. It gave me a lot of confidence to brake late and try and keep up with Rabamus. But I don't know whether it was my car setup or whether it's just me and my lack of skill, which is, you know, a very strong possibility. Just couldn't quite seem to find the... Oh my god, Jesus. If we take the words of Yogi, if you see it on live stream, that was close. How I didn't take Rabba off there, I completely forgot that happened. I do not know, but Danny 200 has managed to get past his teammate Jamski, who for the first time tonight is using wheels and pedals. The first time it's ever using wheel and pedal. As we take a look at our current race leader, Bo Dixon, who has got a drive-through penalty after jumping the start, so he will have to serve it on this lap. Sorry, I'm just closing my curtains. That's how professional this YouTube channel is. But yeah, we're watching Bo. Michael Clough in 2nd place, currently behind him. Just going to be taking the lead of this race, that's for sure. And to be fair, pretty much the victory, because P3 and 4, myself and Rabba, or Rabba and myself rather, just aren't able to keep up with the top 2 cars. They just seem to be in another world. You can see Bo just sliding that coupe around and just being able to control it really nicely. I think with a bit more practice, I think pretty much everyone else in the league would be able to get there, but Bo is just something else. He is just incredibly talented driver. As well as Michael Clough, to be honest with you. Clough is on his second race here in the PNTCC. And is pretty much on his way to his maiden victory in the PNTCC. So we can see Rob and myself in the background there. And Bo Dixon should be diving into the pits here. Yeah, he is. So he just needs to be careful here. Make sure that he doesn't speed in the pit lane. And that did look a little quick before he went over the line. It's a very odd pit lane as we take a look at Coulson here. Just kind of rounding off the main pack, as we can see Bo Dixon about to come out of the pit lane. Now the pit lane exit for the limiter is actually pretty... Whoa, 2 wheels for Coulson there. It's actually really towards the end, and Bo did in fact actually speed and retired from the race because there wasn't really anything you can get for him. He was going to get another drive through, so Michael Clough, like I mentioned a minute ago, is pretty much going to get his maiden victory here as long as he keeps it on the track and doesn't completely destroy his car. But still, to win it, you've got to be in it, so Michael is very well deserving of it. Still a very quick driver. In qualifying, he managed to do a 1 minute 31.859. As we go onto the bonnet of Anders, myself, just come around the back end complex of the Brands Hatch GP circuit. As we go down the hill, then up the hill to the right hand kink just here. I'm not sure what it's called. I used to know all the names of Brands Hatch, the corners of Brands Hatch circuit, but I just can't seem to recall what they're actually called now. I know one of these is Clark's Bend. I think that's this one that we're coming up to right now. The final corner of the GP circuit and the Indy circuit. Rather than just pushing that Cupra to the absolute limit, barely being able to actually keep up with him here. But the Civic in race 1 felt really good from my personal perspective. It felt very good. Race 2 was a little bit worse, but we'll get on to that in race 2. As we take a nice picturesque look at Brands Hatch. It's one of the only tracks where you could probably stand in the grandstand, or be in the grandstand that you can see just in the background over there, and see the whole Indy circuit. And watching the British touring cars here is just something else. They are so good. The fact it's like 32 on the grid as well is just absolutely insane. As we come around T4 now, the long left hander, you see that I take a lot wider line than Rabber, just to try and get a bit more exit speed, or be able to get a power down earlier. But I actually think all it was really doing was slowing myself down. It wasn't usually the line that I would take. Usually a little bit tight, as Rabber loses the rear end a little bit there. As we go back on board with myself, the cool front right view. As we go back down the hill, up the right hand hill, very easy to get it wrong here. And we both seem to do pretty well there. And straight into the braking zone now. You can see that the Civic is very good on the brakes. But maybe I'm just not carrying as much speed through as I thought I could in the Civic. I think I would have been a little bit more confident in the Lada, because I'm pretty well acquainted with it. But this is the 2022 Civic. It is fun though. It's very good. Very nicely balanced car. Bit of a rear lock up there, you can hear. Rabber losing it a bit sideways. Same here. Same with Anders. 2 minutes left on the clock as we enter Druids. You can just see the Civic's just able to catch up on the braking so easily. As we're on board with Robinmus now from the rear left of the car, rear right of the car, sorry. Come down away from Druids. And you can see here, so Rabber's a little bit tighter. I'm a little bit wider, but the Civic's looking a lot more stable than the Cupra there. That could be why I was a little bit slower, maybe. Not utilising the off-throttle oversteer that these cars sometimes have. As we, again, we come around the back end of the GP circuit. Probably my favourite part of the circuit is this complex of corners right here. So we've got a nice right-hander here, pushing out to the left. And it's almost like a long sweeping right-hander here. And you've got to brake across the track a little bit, and Rabamis losing the position, but he cuts way too far over, getting that rear tyre stuck on the grass, and it's just completely ruined his race here. So Danny 200 should be able to take advantage of this. And he does, just coming into Clark's Bend, because Rabamus is going to have some very dirty tyres after going in the gravel trap and the grass. He's going incredibly slow out of Clark's corner, which means Jamski is able to gain a position. And Rabamus, from going from P2, has gone all the way down into P5 right now, with 28 seconds left on the clock. So not the best of instances from Rabba. It's just a slight lapse of concentration. I think in the evening when we were, because we all go into Discord whilst we were doing this, he just took a quick glance at his phone because his wife or Mrs. texted him. So he took a quick look at the message. So the lesson is basically block all forms of social life when you're doing sim racing. It's not healthy for you. At least that's the lesson that I'm taking from it. But Rabamus is really pushing here to try and get Jamski, who has been pretty solid for race 1 of round 5 and his first ever race with a steering wheel and pedals. As the timer is well and truly finished, we've got Danny 200 currently holding in 3rd place, myself in 2nd, and our race leader, if we go on board with him now, there we go, look at that. It's almost as if I edited this before I commentated. So Michael Clough coming around the last corner, in taking his maiden victory in the Lincoln Co car in the PNTCC Season 2 Round 5 Race 1 goes to Michael Clough and gets the fastest lap of the race with 1 minute 32.684. Second place was myself, Anders, in the Honda Civic, so good maiden drive there for the Civic. Danny 200 in the Lincoln Co taking up 3rd place. Rabamus in 5th. Oh, I'm not quite sure why that's in an awkward position. Jamski 4th, Rabamus 5th, Mark Olsen 6th, Letterme 7th, and Bo Dixon in 8th place. So Bo not getting any points there because he DNF'd. Oh no, he gets 4 points. Sorry, he gets 4 points. I lie. So Bo felt guilty, so he started in the pit lane again. However, as we get the race started, we can see that Bo Dixon's already moved. He's going to be pinged. There we go, straight back into the pit lane. He was disqualified for moving out of his pit box too early. So Bo Dixon missing out on race 2 completely. So his championship charge is well basically broken, and the winning every single race record is now finished at 7. So the maximum current consistent victories is 7 with Bo Dixon. As we can see that Letterme and Rabamus are battling away here for first place. Jamski just giving Rabamus a little bit of a push, a little bit of a boost, and you can see all the different kind of lines here whilst we're with Ernie in the sky. As we come back down the back straight, see all those Lincoln Co cars, half the field of Lincoln Co. Just really try and take advantage as we go on board with Danny 200. As Letterme just nudges Andy off the track there. Not quite sure why that was, or perhaps Letterme just wasn't quite aware that Anders was up on the inside, and Danny 200 just, for one of Barris, was just steamrolling straight through into 4th place. So the positions go as follows: Rabamus in 1st, Jamski in 2nd, Anders in 3rd, Danny 200 in 4th, and I believe Letterme actually dropped another position down. So Mark Coulson is not Mark Coulson, Michael Clough, in fact, I believe is 5th currently right now, with Coulson in 6/7th. As we go over the timing line to complete lap 1. As we go over the crest, very tricky corner. You can see the Civic just sticking its ass out a little bit more, running a little bit wide. For some reason, for myself, the Civic felt very different in race 2. The time of day wasn't any different, conditions weren't any different from what I was aware of, but the Civic just felt like an absolute handful in race 2. I'm not quite sure why. Whether it automatically changed fuel load, I don't know, but yeah, it didn't feel quite as responsive first time around. You can see that I keep on locking up here as we come out of the corner. You can just see Danny 200 takes a much tighter line and somehow being able to carry so much more speed through there. So Danny's got Anders on the radar here, just trying to look down the inside, just trying to get into my head a little bit there, and the Civic just casually taking that racing line, but very slow. Danny 200 is carrying a lot of speed through that back end straight, you know. He's doing very good drive as he's cheekily looking up the inside, but As I said earlier, it's very easy to get it wrong there, and that's exactly what I did. So you can see under braking, my car just lost. It was almost as if the weight transfer just completely diverted to the rear end of the car for some reason under braking, and yeah, just lost the rear end. And that was pretty much my race done and dusted, as Coulson comes all the way through the inside here. And we go over the timeline to finish lap 2. Or lap 3. Lap 2, I think. But as you can see, I'm pushing that Civic really hard now, just trying to get whatever I can out of this result. As you can see, we've now got 2 number 12 Lincoln Coast, so I might have to ask one of them just to help me out with the video editing, if they can pick a different number. I'm sure one of them will not mind. But we can see that Rabamus is taking full advantage here of the space between himself and Jamski in second place, and really trying to create as much a gap, because he knows that those Lincoln Co's are just like a pack of tigers or lions are just going to be chasing him down through this field. As Jamski is letting Clough through. You know, there's no team decisions, but that was on Jamski's own head, as well as Danny 200 cheekily getting through, as Anders is looking down the inside of Jamski, taking the corner a little bit too much there. Lets Jamski back through. As we're now coming up to my favourite part of the complex. I love that camera angle, so good. Feel like there should be an exit curb there, but there isn't. So, but the Civics can handle it quite well. Jamski getting a poor exit there, allowing Anders to try and look down the outside of Clark's Bend, I believe it's called, Clark's Corner. As we come around the corner towards the timeline, side by side. And still Jamski and Anders just holding it nice and neat, side by side again. It's almost as if it's a display show right now. It's just neither one of the drivers can seem to just get that extra couple of miles an hour. Anders still trying to stick around the outside. Jamski giving him plenty of room, which is good. Jamski, Anders trying to go down the inside again, but Jamski again just putting that car where Anders needs to be for the exit. Just not able to get the power down. Anders late braking, keeping it tight, but for some reason the Civic just wasn't able to get the pace back up, and Jamski just gets a much better exit out of turn 4. Just giving Andy a little bit of a door rub. And Jamski just gets position back for T5. And that's basically how my race, Anders' race, finishes. For some reason the Civic's tyres just, front end just wouldn't grip on after this. Not quite sure why. I wasn't able to keep up with Jamski, but it did turn out that Jamski was a half second quicker than myself anyway. So Jamski doing incredibly well with the wheel and pedals and racing seat. It does make a big difference. Big difference. As we go back on board with Ernie in the sky. And we're looking at our race leader plus P2 and P3, our podium racers. So we go over the timing line with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. So about 3 laps left of the race. And Rabamus has basically got one job, which is not mess up. Rabamus has got the pace. You can see that Letamy is really trying to give Clough a little bit of a run for his money. Not Letamy, sorry, Danny 200. Really giving Clough a bit of a hard time, which is, again, Rabamus is more than happy for that to happen, because it's only going to slow them down. So really they should be working together. But Clough seemed to be getting a bit more of a challenge from Danny 200 in this race. Danny 200 massively improving in race 2 compared to race 1 after going to the circus and going on 2 wheels. But it always seems to be the Lincoln Co car, actually, that seems to go on 2 wheels. That's not strictly true. Rabba did it at Sonoma, so in the Cupra. So that's not strictly true. So we head back towards the last 3 corners. Nice right-hander. When you get that right, that corner feels so good. But you have to get that car back over to the right-hand side to make that left-hander nice and easy. And you can see that Dan 200 just lost a little bit of time there to Clough. And Clough is clearly quick in Sector 2. That nice gap, that maybe half a second to a second gap that Rabamus had at the beginning of the lap is now 3 tenths, is my best guess. 3 or 2 tenths. So we come over the timing line for what is going to be the second to last lap. Rubbermus really pinned it through T1. Cooper's looking pretty good. You can understand why a lot of people are picking the Cooper, as Clough is looking to go around the outside but not able to. Try and get the old switcheroo. No, Rubber blocks it off. Good defensive drive there by Rubber. He doesn't need to... what's the word that I'm looking for? He doesn't need to jeopardise his line too much. With Brands Hatch, the undercut is king, really, and the late breakers are king. But if you are the car in front, as Rubbermus is now, you just need to place your car just like that, just in the middle, as Clough looks down the inside. But Rubbermus, because he's got the race in line, he can carry more speed through the corner and just push that Cooper through, and there's not really much that Michael Clough can do about it without taking Rubbermus off, which of course would lead to a penalty if it was, you know, vindictive enough. As we can see that Danny 200 is really pushing, and we'll just mention about Lettermy. Lettermy did not have a great race 2 either. He sadly binned it in lap 2. He said that he had some form of like issue with his pedals, because he 1 minute was going from 0% brake to 100% brake without necessarily touching the brake. So something happened and he went straight into a wall. So sadly we lost Lettermy right at the very beginning. But hopefully he'll have a lot better race in round 6 at Autodrom Most in the Czech Republic, which is also Danny 200's home race. So I'm expecting Danny to be very quick, very competitive, as we are now on the final lap, and Rubbermus just needs to keep it clean. He can't do what he did in race 1 and get distracted by text messages. But we can see that Rubbermus is taking his line now, and because he's taking his line, this is what a lot of people in the sim racing community need to do. Just take your race in line. Don't always defend. There's a big gap now between, well, I say big gap, there's a good 2-3 tenths between Rubbermus and Clough, and there's not really anything Clough can do about it. Right now he's just praying that Rubbermus makes an error, as Danny 200 is really testing the track limits here, as they're coming back down the hill to, again, my favourite complex. I can't remember what it's called, but I do love this complex. Rubbermus takes that right-hander beautifully. Beautifully. You could have taken a little bit more circle on the right-hand side, but totally understand why he didn't. As we're coming down to Clark's corner for Rubbermus to take the race win in race 2, which is fantastic. Congratulations, Rubbermus. So we've had 2 brand new race winners in the PNTCC. So see, anything can happen in racing, and I'm very sorry for Bo Dixon for what happened to him. But Rubbermus takes first place. Michael Clough takes second with also the fastest lap of 1 minute 32.025. Danny 200 takes third. Jamski in fourth. Anders in fifth, with Mark Coulson tying us off in sixth. Letting me sadly get in a DNF, and Bo Dixon getting disqualified, which means they both don't get any points. So as we take a look at the overall league positions, Anders is currently up in first with 269.5, with Jamski in second with 246. Jordy Evans falls down to third after being the leader for the past couple of weeks with 225.5 because he missed last night's racing. Bo Dixon doesn't move from P4 with 216.5 points. Yogi, who is now on holiday for 3 weeks, is currently in fifth with 155. Coulson moves up to sixth with 154. Rubbermus jumps up to 7th with now 141. Michael Clough in 8th. Danny 200 in 9th. And Lettermy in 10th, rounding off our top 10. I hope you have enjoyed tonight's race. And if you want to watch out more, subscribe and like. And I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.